A wolf and her young were saved by the man. 4 years later, you won't believe what transpired. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. It seems as though we have been disconnected from nature in the modern world. However, there was a period when people were far more in tune with nature and had a higher level of interpersonal understanding. This narrative centers on an oddly fascinating relationship between a person and an animal. This narrative took place shortly before World War II. Morris Homer Irwin related the tale of how, over a long period of time, he developed a unique kinship with an Alaskan timber wolf family. His trip to Alaska to prospect for gold was the beginning of it all. He wanted to savor the little freedom he still had since he knew he would soon have to enlist. He got that by prospecting in Alaska's remote areas. You might imagine that it was much more isolated back then, since Alaska remains the ultimate frontier to this day. When he started heading back to the campground, he was prospecting in Coho Creek. He chose to go through the woodland as a shortcut, and he had just emerged from it when he came to a complete halt. He was astounded to see an enormous Alaskan timber wolf trapped in a trap. The local trapper had lately passed away from a heart attack, so it was quite fortunate that he had returned. Morris seldom took the trail, so it's possible that the wolf became trapped without anybody ever finding out. The wolf would snarl and charge at him as soon as he approached it. Despite his best efforts to assist it, Escape.it would never let him go near enough to press the trap's release button, not without Morris taking a hand to break. He wasn't going to do that, even if it would have prevented him from participating in the battle. He would have to come up with another scheme to set the wolf free. He was considering his options when he noticed something else while closely observing the wolf. The teats were loaded with milk. She had children. It's likely that wolf pups were someplace waiting for mama, but how would he locate them? After their mother had become confined, would they even be alive today? She couldn't have been imprisoned for very long because of her appearance. Morris reasoned that the infants still had hope. He needed to locate them. Having learned to track during his stay in Alaska, he was able to identify which of the nearby tracks belonged to the timber wolf. He trailed behind them, making their disappearance into the undergrowth. Even if the puppy's den could be nearby, it might not be easy to bring them out of the shelter of their lair. Fortunately, they had been famished for some time and had been left alone, so when Morris made his best wolf cry, the 4 little puppies came out very quickly. They couldn't have been older than a few weeks, yet they still sorely needed their mother. They attempted to lick Morris's fingers as well. Morris would bring them to her if she was unable to come to them. He placed the puppies into a canvas sack that he held tenderly. They were shrieking and wailing because they were not satisfied with him. The mother began to wail for them before they had even arrived. She was eager to reach them after hearing them. Morris set the puppies down when they got closer, and they all ran to their mother. Even though the mother timberwolf was still trapped in the trap, it was a happy reunion as she licked and caressed them both. The mother appeared to relax as the puppies began to nurse right away. Morris may try to come closer, but it didn't make her happy. He was aware that if she didn't eat, she wouldn't be able to continue feeding her children. He was aware of locations where hunters would store their fresh, cold meat in the ice. He proceeded toward one of these locations, leaving Mom and her puppies together, and won the lottery. A deer's leg was poking out of the ice. He chopped off a portion, put the remainder back on the ice, and walked his way towards the wolf family. He whispered softly and sliced little pieces off for her, tossing them one at a time in her direction. She gave it a smell, but she was too hungry to refuse free food. She went through the bits that were supplied quickly. Morris realized he wouldn't make it back to his tent as it was growing late. In addition, he carried a sleeping bag with him at all times in case of need. Nor would he abandon the mother and infants without providing them with a means of defense. The clearing would become his new base for the time being. He fell asleep, and when he woke up the next morning, his face was covered in wolf puppies. To be honest, it wasn't an awful way to wake up. They were kissing him awake and generally embracing him when they saw him. Though she wasn't snarling, their mother wasn't exactly thrilled with all the happiness they were displaying either. Morris chose to view that as a step forward. He attempted to have a closer view of her leg that was entangled in the trap. It didn't appear to be damaged. It sliced into her skin, as was common with these kinds of traps, and she was unable to extricate herself. To get near enough to press the release button, he needed to gain her trust. He wasn't going to let these puppies end up as orphans, even if it wouldn't be simple. Morris spent many days with the family. He developed a close relationship with the wolf cubs and gave the mother daily food. She responded to his attention gradually, and one day he saw that she was wagging her tail as soon as he emerged from the jungle. She was beginning to believe in him. He made the decision to try again. The puppies began climbing all over him as soon as he sat closer to her than previously. However, the wolf did not respond normally. Instead, she just observed. He put his hand on her leg in an attempt to try and push his luck. She observed him without displaying any hostile behavior. He approached her more slowly until he was near enough to squeeze the release. Morris was a little concerned about what she might do to him now that she was free. The response caught me off guard. She made no attempt to harm him. Rather, she was as at ease as she had been moments earlier. He was still surrounded by playful puppies. Then they all began to go. Morris had assumed that would be the last time he saw them, but they paused and gave him a glance. The mother approached him once more before turning back to face the path. At last, he realized she wanted him to go with them. Following them up the mountain, he was unexpectedly encircled by a pack of wolves. He had been returned home to his pack by his new acquaintances, and they all behaved as though they welcomed humans on a daily basis. Morris realized it was time for them to part ways as the light began to fade. Although he had become close to the wolves, he was soon returning home. Nevertheless, he would never forget the days he had spent with this family because they had altered his heart. He took up his rucksack and made his way out of sight. The wolf moved to the group's edge with her pups, and they watched him depart. He turned around and waved a bit before he vanished from view. The mother wolf gave a howl in response. It was, Morris would later say, one of the most impactful events of his life. Shortly afterward, he was forced to go in order to return home and prepare for war, a conflict that would profoundly alter both the soldiers who fought in it and the world at large. Morris was tired of battling and made the decision to return to Alaska after 4 years and a great deal of sorrow. It must have been wonderful to return to a life of simplicity. He wouldn't have much time to remain. He went to the mountain where he had last seen the mother wolf and her puppies as his first action. You won't believe what occurred next, even though it seemed like a dream and had been so long. He howled like a wolf, just as he did all those years before, and then all of a sudden, a familiar form materialized in the distance. He instantly recognized the mother wolf. Her tail waggled slightly as she approached Morris, stopping barely yards away. She gave him just a fleeting glance before vanishing once again. After then, he didn't see the family again, yet they remained in his life. I appreciate you seeing. Come back soon for more motivational films. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.